So, hello and welcome to the Awakening the Illuminated Heart 2 hour introductory class about the Awakening the Illuminated Heart workshop, which is a 4-day workshop, and it is the current foundational work of Drunvalo Melchizedek. And Drunvalo has taught numerous workshops over the years. He started out in the 80s teaching the Flower of Life workshop. And then in the early 90s, that workshop, which there were recordings of, which you can still find, I think, on Gaia TV, and you can still buy the 28 like DVD set of the Flower of Life workshop. They transcribed it into these books, The Ancient Secret of the Flower of Life, Volume 1 and Volume 2. And those are pretty much a transcript from the workshop, and they are incredible and really heavy. And there's so much information in here. Sometimes people get a little overwhelmed by it, and sometimes people just really want to geek out and get into it. Most of the information in here is still accurate, and yet there are some things in the end of volume 2 that have changed as we have evolved further. And that mainly is the Merkaba, which we'll talk about in this class as well, and why and how that has changed. And that's what led Drunvalo to then continue to start coming up with new workshops and training in new ways of doing things. So after a long time of doing the Flower of Life workshop, Drunvalo wrote a book called Living in the Heart. And it was clear that it was time to start moving in the direction of the heart. And he also created a workshop called Earth Sky, and another one called the Earth Sky Heart Workshop. So his work was starting to morph and move into being centered in the heart. When he first was told by his guidance to start teaching, he came up with this information, which is really of the logical mind. There's a lot in here that's sacred geometry and numbers and history, and like a lot to engage the linear mind, because that's where we were at collectively. And so people wanted things that they could relate to. They weren't interested in the heart. And as we have continued to grow and evolved, there's been more access to teaching from the heart. So he taught this workshop, Earth, Sky, Heart. And then in 2011, the last time he taught it, he did record it. And that recording can be found online, and it can be found on Gaia TV, because he was going to start to teach a new way. And in November of 2011, was the first time he offered the Awakening the Illuminated Heart workshop to the world. And this was an entirely new way of activating the Merkaba from the heart. So the heart work was working, and people were starting to be more heart-centered. And then the idea of activating your living Merkaba field from your heart became the possibility. And so he created that new training. And I happened to be at the Creative Life Center in November of 2011, the first time he taught that workshop. And that's when he said, I want to train 100 people from around the world to be my facilitators to teach this work. I just knew that's why I was there. It felt like such sort of divine ordinance and timing. And he accepted me as one of his trainees, and then made me one of his facilitators. And then I even got to be one of his assistants and help him train other teachers. And so now at this point, I have been facilitating this workshop since 2012, and have taught over 100 of the 4-day long intensives. And I do many of these 2-hour intro classes as well, just something that I kind of came up with on my own, because a lot of people want to learn a little bit more about it without any intention of maybe wanting to even go to the 4-day workshop. And so I lived in Portland, Oregon for many years. And so I'd go to many West Coast consciousness festivals and do like a 2-hour introduction to this work. And it was amazing for people who I knew were never going to come to the 4-day. And that didn't matter. Like, the idea is, I want to give you something in this 2-hour class that's a taste of Drunvalo's work and a piece of it, whether you ever were to do anything further or not. So it definitely stands alone as a nice introduction to Drunvalo's work. Okay, so let's see. Let's finish going through his books. So then he also has 2 books that are more autobiographical, and they are stories from his life, along sprinkled in with teachings, but just a little bit more on the personal level. And the first one that he wrote was The Serpent of Light Beyond 2012, and then The Mayan Ouroboros. And so these books are all, this is his collection of books right now. And currently, as we speak, Drunvalo is working on The Ancient Secret of the Flower of Life, volumes 3 and 4. So Drunvalo's work is currently The Awakening the Illuminated Heart. And I said he's writing volumes 3 and 4, and he's almost done with volume 3. It's a very slow going. Drunvalo is in his mid 80s now, and he is slower than he used to be. And he also had a stroke a few years back. And so sometimes he struggles to find words. And so that's why he's not necessarily public, right now. And he's conveying things to me to convey to the teachers, because he can be forgetful of words and things like that. So it's slow going. And even writing the book is slow going. But he's very committed to writing it and getting this information out before he leaves the planet. And what I understand is that volume 3 of The Flower of Life that he's writing now is going to be a lot of the information that is in the Awakening the Illuminated Heart workshop. It's not a substitute for the workshop. Like even these books, when he was teaching the Flower of Life workshop, he also had the books to go along with it. And what he found is when people would not go to the workshop and just read the books, they would activate their Merkaba wrong. They didn't have guidance. It's not necessarily a substitute, and because all the activations necessarily aren't there, but the information is, and it's a great complement to it. So he's going to come out with this volume 3 that is going to be a complement to the Awakening the Illuminated Heart workshop. And then he's going to continue working on volume 4. And volume 4 is what he really wants to write. This is what lights him up right now. And it's information about how to travel anywhere in the universe instantly. It's information about sort of tantric energy and how you can use that to maneuver in the universe, and all kinds of extra interesting things that as a researcher, he's getting excited about. But he said that he can't really teach that information to people unless they already know the information that's in The Awakening the Illuminated Heart. So that's why, in order to get to volume 4 that he really wants to write, he has to kind of cover volume 3, which is this workshop, because he knows not everybody is going to come to this workshop or has had the opportunity to. So that's the books. And so I'm excited to see those when they come out. All right, so The Awakening the Illuminated Heart. It is really sort of born out of this book, the Living in the Heart book. And in order to even attend the Living in the Heart, the Awakening the Illuminated Heart workshop, the one prerequisite to attending is to actually read this book. So it really does the workshop picks up where the book ends. And you can actually find this book not only in hard copy anywhere, major booksellers or on Amazon, but you can also buy a digital version on Amazon. And there's actually a version I found of it for free on YouTube. And it's a woman reading it out loud. And she reads the whole book. And so you can actually just listen to it for free. I'll send a link to that. I'm going to send you this little follow-up email after we're done with a link to this recording and like a link to my website and stuff like that. And so I will make a point to put a copy, because I think that that's really cool. I've actually just re-listened to it again recently, just by going about my business with like my earbuds on, and just because it's been a few years since I'd actually read it. So it was nice to just listen to it. So at the back of the CD the back of the book has a CD. Oh, it's not in this copy of mine, but the book comes with one if you buy one new. If you buy one used, it often doesn't have the CD in it. And if you get the digital copy or listen to it on YouTube, you won't have the CD. But I have also found that numerous people have uploaded the CD to YouTube because the CD is the guided meditation. Everything that Drunvalo is talking about in this book, about how to get into your sacred space of your heart, which is what we are going to do today here. There's a guided meditation of Drunvalo leading you through that. So you can actually find those recordings if you were to go over to YouTube and just type in Drunvalo in the search bar and then type in female, or Drunvalo and then type in male. That'll bring up the two different recordings, because in this book, he talks about a female way to go into the heart and a male way to go into the heart. And the reason is because people tend to be either more linear, logical, and male minded, or they tend to be more feminine and intuitive minded. And what he found is when taking people into the heart, people could tend to do one version or the other. So he had created two separate meditations depending upon what works better for you. Now, here it is years later. And when Drunvalo created the Awakening, the Illuminated Heart Workshop in 2011, he had found a new way of getting into the heart that happened after he wrote this book. So it's not in any book yet, but it's the way that we teach in the Awakening the Illuminated Heart Workshop. And it's the way I'm going to share with you today. So even if you have this book and you've been practicing it, I'll share with you a new way today of getting into the heart. And so then you can have that as well to practice. You know, the sacred space of the heart is our inner, it's like in our inner landscape, it's our inner temple. And there's many different ways to go there. So Drunvalo is presenting 3 different ways here, 2 in the book and this one new way. And they're just options. They're not the only way to get there. But this new way that Drunvalo is teaching, he found that males and females can do it. The feminine minded and intuitive minded people can all do this method. And he calls it the Jesus way into the heart. And it's because it's something that he found in some old Gnostic texts and then adapted in his own way and created this new way of going into the heart. So the sacred space of the heart, our inner sanctuary, our inner temple, the inner space where there is only love. And it can be a little bit confusing sometimes for people because we may think that we're in our heart if we're feeling love. And that can sometimes be a trick of the mind because there is love of the mind. And so you could be feeling love and be in your mind and and there would be love, but there would also be something else because the mind is based in duality, whereas the heart is based in unity. So if you're experiencing love and some judgment, love and some doubt, love and some fear, something like that, then you might be experiencing love of the mind and not of love of the heart. It's like, I'm so in my heart right now. I feel love. And so what Drunvalo came up with as a way to get us out of the mind so that it doesn't trick us into thinking that is an actually traveling in the body, moving from the mind to the heart so that we know that we are in our heart. And in the heart, there is only love. There isn't love and. So that's how one way that we know when we're in our sacred heart space is we're only feeling love. And we're also feeling open and expanded. And instead of contracted and contained, there's not a lot of doubt, there's not fear, there's not the spin that can happen in the mind. So we're going to practice moving from the mind to the heart. Now, this is really, really important. And I think it's one of the most important things that Drunvalo teaches because we are creating our life on some level, like whether we think we're co-creators or we're creating everything and this is just a simulation. Either way, there is this thing where we're creating reality, and the mind is what we are trained from a very young age to be living from. Like if you're not your body, but you're a spirit inhabiting your body, where are you? And and so this is something to think about, and we'll in a moment we'll close our eyes and tune into this. But like our spirit can be either infinite or it can be finite. And right now we're in our finite nature because we have these human forms. And so that are going to expire and die and we'll forget and start over again. So it's finite. And if we're in our infinite nature, then there would be no part of us that is the center of our being because infinity has no center. But when we are in our finite nature, as we are in now, there is going to be a center of our being. And this is what we call the spirit center. And this is what we are trained from a very young age to orient in the mind. We go to schooling, our schooling indoctrination that teaches us to be in the mind, be in the mind, don't be in your heart, don't be into your creativity, be in your mind and be thinking. So the majority of humans on the planet, if you ask them, you are not your body, but you are a spirit inhabiting your body. Where do you reside? The majority of people will say behind their eyes, in their mind. Not only because of the indoctrination and the schooling, but also because we see from here, we talk from here. There's an orientation. And when you are oriented in your mind and you understand that on some level you're creating your reality all the time, then you're going to be creating it from the mind, because that's the vibration where you are. The mind is in duality. The mind is a dualistic organ, and it is created to be a tool for this dualistic world that we're in the third dimension. The brain even has a left side and a right side separated by the corpus callosum. So it's very much in duality. And when you are living from your mind and oriented there, then you're creating your reality based upon duality. And the heart is not based in duality. It is only oneness consciousness. There is no duality in the heart. So that's why Drunvalo wrote a book, Living in the Heart. The idea is to be actually living from this place and creating our reality from a place of unity consciousness and not the duality of the mind. And to me, this is one of the, like I said, the biggest pieces of this whole work. Because if we can just get that, people's lives can change so drastically. Because you could be living in your mind and even manifesting, like, oh, trying to manifest your reality, and you might be successful at it. And things like The Secret and other stuff that is about like vision boards and visioning things into reality, it's all using the mind. And so you may like, wow, okay, I'm trying to think this thing into manifestation and it's working. And I got a new car, or I got some money, I manifested this healing center, whatever it might be. But if you're doing it from the mind, then you're going to create exactly what you want, and you'll think that you're a good manifester. But you will also create the equal opposite, because that's duality. That is the nature of the mind, is to create both. And people will not necessarily even put this together, that this is what's happening. And so they manifest something really great, what they want to manifest, and then something bad happens, comes, kind of hits them from behind. They don't even put it together that it's a direct result of this. And so life is like a roller coaster. And when you get this and practice going into the heart and setting up camp here every day and letting this be home base, and then starting to live more from the vibration of being in your heart, then you're not on the duality spin and the roller coaster ride as much, and life starts to become more like a river of grace. So this is why this is so important. So I'd like you to take a moment to close your eyes for a moment and tune in. I am not my body. I am a spirit, an infinite spirit inhabiting this body. Where am I located? And just notice, without any judgment, just notice where you might be oriented. You might be in your body, in any chakra or any area. You might also be outside of your body, in front of it, or behind it, or above it. And can you get a sense of that? So the idea is that we want to be in our heart, and we're actually going to move inside the body to get to the heart. Because not only is there a trick of the mind that I was sharing before about feeling love, so maybe just assuming you're in your heart, even if it's love of the mind, but there can also be something that happens when we decide we want to travel down into the heart, that we might actually just stay in the mind and visualize ourselves going into the heart. But the visualization is happening in the mind, and we're not actually going into the heart, right? So that's why traveling inside of the body is becomes the way that we're going to do it. And so if we're not our body and we're a spirit inhabiting the body, then we can move around and travel in the body. And in the 4-day workshop, we spend a lot more time on this today. Like we're just going to do a little bit of a crash course and just give you a few tips, and then we're just going to go into the heart. But just know that in the workshop, we also spend time practice traveling in the body, like moving into our hands and then seeing if we can see out of our hands and perceive our face and perceive around the room, all kinds of different stuff to kind of practice these kind of skills. But just know that you can, move in the body. And so what we're going to do is travel to go down to the heart. And when you travel in your body, or when you tune into your spirit center, as I just had you do, you might visualize or feel or sense or see your spirit center about the size of a marble. And maybe it's a little glass sphere, maybe it's a little crystal, it might even be a little flame, or even a little mini version of yourself. But this is what's going to travel in the body. And we're going to first feel that we are in the mind. And so if we're not the mind, but we're a little spirit inhabiting it, right in the direct center where the pineal gland is and the pineal chakra, you're in there, you would feel the skull all around you because you're surrounded by it when you're in the center. The pineal is like here. If you drew a line here and then one at the top of the crown chakra and like slid down and then slid this one over, like you can see this line, and this line, and you can imagine where they would all meet inside the head. That's where the pineal gland and chakra is. So it's not like the center of the head down here. It's more like the center of the brain. So we're going to feel the skull surrounding us and feel a sense of orientation inside the brain. And then we're going to actually start to travel down our body. And you do this by actually feeling, not just seeing, right? Because you might just be in the mind visualizing it. It's more important to feel it than it is even to see it. But some people also see it. And you're traveling down your head. And we're going to first move to our throat chakra. So you may actually feel like you're kind of crawling down your head, or you're sliding down a slide, or moving down like a glass elevator where you could actually kind of see that you're moving down. And that's the first step, is to get down into the throat area. And then from there, we orient and feel what this place feels like. Like it's going to feel different than being in the mind. If you're really there and not just imagining that you're there, you will feel the difference. The mind may feel like contained and closed, right? It's got the skull all around it, and the throat might feel softer, a little bit more open. And then what we're going to do is we're going to continue down into our chest area. And here is where we get into the part that Drunvalo learned from the old Gnostic texts and why he calls this the Jesus way into the heart. There were some old Gnostic writings that he found where Jesus was talking about the sacred space of the heart being at the back of the physical heart. So he went exploring, and what he found at the back of the physical heart was a doorway. So he didn't find the sacred space, but he found a doorway that leads to the sacred space. And this is pretty typical in old days where information was partially given to the public and not like totally revealed. So, it was like, oh, it's at the back of the heart, but then you had to do the work on your own to find that at the back of the heart is a doorway. So a doorway, a portal, a stargate, a spiral, like, well, there's many different ways that you could call it or think about it, but it's like at the back of the physical heart, slightly on the left side of your body. If you're looking at the physical heart, there's a crevice or a fold or like a crease in the heart that when you move closer to it with your spirit center, you'd see that at about the middle of this crevice or fold, there's a small spot. And the spot usually appears as a dark or a light spot, and it's a spinning vortex like this. And when you move closer with your spirit center to this spinning vortex, it just pulls you in. And it's like now you've entered into your inner world, your inner landscape, your inner terrain, and you've gone through the portal at the back of the heart. So now you're traveling inward. And a lot of people will describe it like they're traveling down a tube or a tunnel, a wormhole of some sort, and traveling inward until they come to a stop in the sacred space of the heart. So that's how we're going to go into the sacred space. The sacred space is like the stillest space in all of creation. And it is pure peace and love. And the Hindus believe that this is the space where there is the primordial sound that is older than the universe itself, which is the true Om. That, in the beginning was the word, is possibly in the beginning was vibration and frequency. And that in this space, often people have a sound or a feeling or a vibration that they can tap into. That is their primordial Om, their creation sound. So we're also going to have a listen for that and a feel for that when we go into the heart. And once you're in the sacred space of your heart, this is where you can know anything about yourself. So This is the place of records. Your Akashic records, the Akashic records of the universe, they could all be there in your sacred space of your heart. You could find out anything. Drunvalo says the most important information is who we were before we came into this life, why we came into this life, what we're intending to do here. And all that information can be found in your sacred space of your heart. So this inspires me to share something about the whole body of work of Drunvalo's. One of the reasons I love it so much is I call it, he doesn't use these terms, but I call it sovereignty training. Like his whole thing is that we have everything we need inside of ourselves. We don't need teachers. We don't need gurus and masters and ascended masters and archangels. And, we don't need any of that. We have everything. That's why he called his school the school of remembering, because we know all this stuff, right? We're just going to remember it. And so it's a kind of like a workshop to end all workshops, because we're going to learn to connect to the wisdom, the infinite wisdom within our own heart. The entire Akashic records is there, so you can learn anything but yourself or the universe. So that's one of the pieces, and I'll get into some of the other pieces of why I think this is like sovereignty training. And so when you go into your sacred space of your heart, you can explore around. And this book, Living in the Heart, gives great detail about how he found the sacred space of the heart and different people's experiences there and whatnot. So this is, if you enjoy what we're doing today, I would definitely recommend this book as a way to fill that information out more. But when you first get there in your sacred space of your heart, it may be in darkness. Um, because the heart sees in darkness, whereas the mind sees with light, and we need the light coming in our two eyes in order to see. Well, the heart needs darkness in order to see. And so when we're going to take a break, before we do this meditation, and on the break, I'll ask you to get something that you can use as a blindfold, whether it's a sleep mask or just a hat that you can tuck down or a scarf that you can wrap around your eyes. Because when you're in darkness, it like makes it a little easier to see in your heart. And especially if you start to see light there and visuals, then it'll be much clearer if you're in the dark. So what he says is when you first go into the heart, it is often in darkness, and you need to ask for there to be light. Let there be light. It's like the first thing that we say when we go into the heart. And the light might come on right away, and it might not. So you just ask for there to be light, and you let the experience be what it is. The light might come on the third time you do the meditation or half an hour later, and it might come on like psychedelic kind of light. And also interesting to note is that when the light comes on, it's not light based in duality. So it's not light like light out here, like it starts at a light bulb or it starts at the sun, and then it shines its light on something and it creates a shadow behind what it's shining on, right? And because it's traveling, and that's light based in duality. And this light in the heart is not, nothing makes a shadow, and the light doesn't come from anywhere. It's just simply filled with luminosity. So try to make a shadow in your sacred space of your heart, and you won't be able to if you're in your sacred space. So that's the first thing we'll do is we'll ask for there to be light. And then let it be what it is, whether it's dark or light. Then the next thing that we'll do is tune into the vibration. Like I was just talking about how the Hindus believe that this vibration that can be found in the heart. There's a book called the Upanishads, and the Chandogya Upanishad, ancient book from India, 5,000 years old. A lot of those people talk about the sound in their heart, and they call it the Om. And so there is a frequency. Not everyone hears it as a sound. You may feel it like a vibration in your heart. And so we're going to tune into that and see if you can tune into that sound in your heart. And if you're not hearing it like a sound, you're feeling it like a vibration. See if you can translate that into sound. And I'm going to invite you to hum the sound with your voice for a moment or so that you can remember it. And this is really valuable because if you can remember your sound of your heart, then you can use that anytime to go back to your heart. Like, say you're just out in the world and you're in line at the bank, or you're stuck in traffic and you're like, oh my God, I'm so not in my heart right now. I'm getting so judgy, or whatever it is. You could just start humming. whatever your note is of your heart, and bring yourself back there wherever you are, even just really quietly humming it. So it's little like a homing begin to bring you back to your heart. So that's really valuable. And everyone will be muted during the meditation. So I will invite you as well. If you're not sure what your sound is, then go up and down the scale until you find the note that you really feel resonate your heart. So if you're not feeling it, then just go looking for it. Any questions so far? Okay. So then we're in the sacred space of the heart, and I will let you stay in the meditation for about 10 minutes to just explore the place, get to know the frequency, see what's there for you. And a couple things I will just touch on, even though we don't have time, in this little tiny intro to go into them, is the higher self connection is a huge part of the workshop. And we have an opening ceremony in the 4-day workshop to call in our fourth dimensional self, which is us just on a higher vibrational level, and make a connection and a relationship with that being over the 4 days. Um, and just know that your higher self can be in your sacred space of your heart, because your higher self is you, just on a higher frequency level, just like the dial just got turned a little bit, but it's still you. And your sacred space of your heart is your sacred space. There shouldn't be other people there. It is your inner sanctuary. But since your higher self is you, your higher self can be there. So if when you go into your higher self, you do encounter a 12 to 15 foot tall luminescent being that kind of looks like an angel, it's probably your higher self. And also, spirit animals can show up there. I have heard Drunvalo say that even though he says nobody else should be there, he has said that a spirit animal or two can sometimes also be in your sacred space. So that should be about it. If you get there and there's a big welcome party, then you probably bypassed the sacred space of your heart and you went straight to your tiny space of your heart. So we don't have time to do that today, but let me just in case you find your way there, I want to explain that the tiny space of the heart is another space that is found inside the sacred space of the heart. And Drunvalo talks about it in this book. And it is the place of the absolute unity and the oneness of the universe. And it's a very small space, and anyone could be there. And the sacred space, when I go into it, it feels like I'm going into a holy temple, like somewhere where people have prayed or meditated for thousands of years. And like when you go into one of those places, like you can feel it, like there's a charge. My skin almost gets like goosebumps, right? And I'm like, I'm in a holy place now. That's what it feels like when I go into my sacred space of my heart. I don't hear a sound, but I do have that feeling, and that's the feeling I translate into sound to make that. But when I go into my tiny space, it's like the equivalent of going into that temple. It's like now what happens if I walk up to the altar or the inner sanctum, the shrine, the holy of holies, many different names for it. Then it's like really potent. That's the tiny space. And so when you go to your sacred space, which we always want to visit first, and you want to establish your connection with your sacred space before you find your tiny space. But just in case you get there and there's a big party, that might mean that you bypassed it and went straight to your tiny space. Okay, the last thing I want to explain before we go take our break and then do this meditation is that this is an important part of going into the sacred space of the heart, and it has to be done before we go in. And going into the sacred space of your heart is a sacred ceremony. And what Drunvalo found is that people all over the world, indigenous people all over the world, before they go in sacred ceremony, they all do something very similar. And that is they connect to Mother Earth and Father Sky with love. And for whatever reason, it is a key that unlocks the door to the heart. And so I'm going to lead for like the first 5 minutes of the guided process, a meditation to connect our heart to the heart of Mother Earth, and then connect the heart to the heart of Father Sky. Now, Mother Earth, from Drunvalo's understanding, is the planet. She is a conscious living being. She's alive, she's conscious, and we are all part of Mother Earth. Like all the living beings on Mother Earth's body is all a part of Mother Earth. And then Father Sky is everything else in creation, including the moon, other life forms, everything. So that's Father Sky, all of it. or Father Son, it is sometimes called. So that can be a little bit vast to connect to. So sometimes people will just connect to the Sun, which then links to all life everywhere. So we're going to do that in a beautiful meditation that Drunvalo has created of connecting our heart to Mother Earth and then Father Sky. And then once we've established that, and our hearts are connected, and Mother Earth's connected to our hearts are connected to Father Sky, we'll take a moment to feel all that love in the heart. We'll even feel the love that Mother Earth and Father Sky have for each other, meeting in the heart. And we'll also feel the love that we have for ourselves. And this creates like a holy trinity vibration. You've got the Divine Mother, the Divine Father, and us, the Divine Child. And all that connected in the heart is a beautiful state of consciousness and a lovely meditation unto itself, but is also the key that will unlock the door to the heart. So then we're going to orient in the mind and then travel down and go into the heart. So like I said, total crash course. But a lot of people get this anyway, just even in this 2-hour class. So let's pause here and see if anyone has questions or comments.
I'm just checking. Obviously, it's going to be guided
Yeah,
because I will not remember all of that.
absolutely.
So, okay, that's good to know.
Yeah, I
Perfect.
will guide you through the whole thing. And then at one point, I'll say, and now I'll let you stay in the meditation for 10 minutes to explore and see what's here for you. And for that 10 minutes, I won't talk. I'll let you have your own experience. But for the first 10 minutes, I will be guiding you through the whole process of getting into the
And
heart.
during that 10 minutes, like I know it's not a mind, it's not a cognitive process, but what are your recommendations for trying to stay in where we need to be? Like it's just you're either going to be or you're not, or are there other things to help stay in the heart?
That's a great question. So before I stop talking and just leave you in the heart, we're first going to get there. And then we're going to ask for there to be light. And then we're going to feel the vibration. And so we'll already be sort of, anchoring and spending a little time there. And then the invitation is for you to then explore this place or just sit in the energies and just be in your heart. Like some people may have a visual experience where they're looking around or they're wandering around or a spirit animal comes and takes you around or something like that. And so you may be just engaged in it. And if you're not and you're just sitting in the heart energy, then I will sometimes just work with my breath to breathe into the heart. And there can be a tendency to shoot back to the mind, because the mind is thinking and the mind never stops. And like, it's just here giving commentary the whole time. Like, are you at the heart? Do you think you're in the heart? Blah, 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 right? It just does this thing. And so what I try to do is just let mind do that and let the mind be here spinning and go, okay, mind, you just do that. You're going to do your thing. And that's fine. You're going to give commentary on every little thing that's happening. Sure. But I'm just going to go here and I'm going to focus here and I'm going to breathe here. If I'm really starting to like feel like I'm bouncing back and forth, I'll even put a hand on my heart and just breathe into it and feel like I'm staying there in that space.
Okay, thank
And
you.
if you feel like you shoot back to the mind and it's during that quiet time, then just take the journey back again. And it may not take, like when I lead us, it's going to take 10 minutes. We're going to connect with Mother Earth, we're going to connect with Father Sky, and then we're going to travel down. Well, you just did that 5 minutes ago, so now you find yourself back in your mind. Oh, all you got to do is touch the connection, boom, go back down. So it can be much quicker when you if you need to go back. We're going to start the meditation by doing the unity breath, connecting. Drunvalo calls that the unity breath, connecting with Mother Earth and Father Sky in the heart, creating that unity. And then we will go into the heart from there. So when you're ready, you can go ahead and put on your mask and feel free to go off camera if you want to. Either way is fine. And you're all muted, so that's great. And I'll just take us on a journey. Okay, so as you put on your mask, just adjust it the best you can so that no light is coming in. It doesn't have to be perfect. Get comfortable, make sure your back is straight. Clear your throat or cough if you need to. Just get everything out so that you can just settle in. And first, we're going to connect with Mother Earth. And so, what I'd like you to do is imagine a place in nature that you know and love and find beautiful, like a real place that you've actually been to before. That's one of your favorite places on the earth. This way, you can really imagine it. And I would like you to imagine as if you are there in this place right now. And feel everything about this place with all of your senses so that you're sensorily engaging as if you are in this place. What does the earth feel like beneath your feet? What do you smell? What do you feel on your skin? The wind, the sun? What do you hear in the distance? Is it the ocean? Is it wind? Just let all of your senses engage as if you're really in this place. And feel the way that your heart responds when you imagine being in this place that you love. Feel the love that you have for this place. And feel the love that you have for all of nature. Feel the love that you have from Mother Earth herself, the living spirit of the earth. She is alive and conscious, and she has given us everything that we have, including our bodies. We are a part of Mother Earth. So feel this love that you have for Mother Earth. And let this love fill your heart. Like you're really feeling this love for Mother Earth, not just thinking about it, but actually a felt sense in your heart of love and affection that goes toward Mother Earth. And let all this love fill your heart. And now you're going to take all this love that you're generating from Mother Earth and you're going to send it down into the earth. You might imagine putting it in like a little sphere or a little packet of love. It's like a gift that you're going to give Mother Earth. And when you're ready, you're going to send this packet of love from your heart down your body into the earth, going through the various layers of the earth. And let it just travel all the way to the center of the earth, to the heart of the mother, where she will feel and receive your love. And then you open yourself to receive her love as she sends it back to you. And she always will, because she's our mother and she loves us. So you're going to feel this love from Mother Earth coming up into you from below, rising up into your being. And just say yes to it and let it in. Let this love move through all of your bodies, your physical body, your emotional body, your mental body, your light body. Just let it go wherever it wants to go to nourish you. And feel yourself connected heart to heart with Mother Earth. It's a direct line of love flowing between both of you. And now, while keeping that flow of love going between you and Mother Earth, put your attention on a night sky and imagine and feel as if you're standing outside under a clear sky at night. You're looking up and you see the stars, the Milky Way stretched across the sky, the moon, and just feel that sense of awe and wonder you have when you look up at the sky, twinkling, sparkling. Feel the incredible depth of space. Feel the love that you have for all of creation, all life everywhere. Feel the love for the life-giving sun. And feel the love that you have for Father Sky. Really feeling this love in your heart. Taking this love, placing it into a small sphere in your heart or a little packet, a gift of love, and sending this love up and out the top of your head, up into the heavens, where Father Sky will feel and receive your love. You could send it to the sun, or the consciousness grids around the planet, or the great central sun, or just send it up into the heavens. Either way will work, and Father Sky will feel and receive your love. And then open yourself to receive his love as he sends it back to you, and he always will. Feeling this love enter into you from above, letting it move down through all of your bodies, saying yes to this love, and letting it go wherever it wants to go to nourish you. And feeling yourself connected heart to heart with Father Sky. And feel the connection with Mother Earth at the same time. The love of Mother Earth and Father Sky meeting in your heart. Feeling the love that Mother Earth and Father Sky also have for each other. And feeling the love that you have for yourself. And this creates the Holy Trinity vibration, the Divine Mother, the Divine Father, and you, the Divine Child. And in this sacred unity, your being is in a state of consciousness and resonance that is ancient and pure and is a key that will unlock the door to the heart. So take just another moment in this space before we move on. So now we're going to make the journey down to the sacred space of the heart. So I'd like you to take your spirit center, the center of your being that you visualize as maybe a small sphere or a little crystal, and bring your awareness with your center to the center of your head, to your pineal chakra and feel as if you are inside of your head. Feel the skull surrounding you and orient your vantage point so that you are there inside of your head. And now you're going to let go of this place, and with your intention, you're going to feel, see, or sense your way down your head, moving down till you get to your throat chakra. Maybe you feel like you're kind of crawling down your head, or you're in a glass elevator and you're coming down, or there's a staircase. However you travel, make it an active traveling so that you're moving with your spirit center down your head to your throat chakra. Once there, feel what this place feels like. It probably feels very different than being in your head. Feel the throat chakra. And now we're going to continue down into the chest area. Continue moving with your spirit center down until you are behind your heart, your physical heart, slightly on the left side of your body. Move with your spirit center so that you can feel, see, or sense your physical heart in front of you. Now, tuning into the physical heart, you may see, feel, or sense that at about the middle of the heart, there is a crevice or a crease or a fold in the heart. At about the middle of this crevice or fold, there is a small spot that usually appears as a dark or a light spot. And let yourself move closer to it. And when you get closer, you realize it is like a spinning vortex. And as you get close, this vortex will just pull you into itself. And you'll move through the doorway at the back of the heart into your inner terrain, your inner space. You may find that you're moving down a tube or a tunnel or a wormhole. You're traveling inward, and you will keep moving until you come to a natural stop, at which point you will be in the sacred space of your heart. Once inside the sacred space of your heart, if it is dark, you can ask for there to be light. And then feel the vibration in this place. You may hear it like a frequency, or you may feel it like a vibration, the holy sound, the true Om. And I will invite you, everyone is muted, so feel free to make some sounds. I will invite you to make the sound as you are hearing or feeling it, or as you can translate it into sound, and hum it for a moment or so to start to help you remember this sound. So now you are in your sacred space of your heart, and you can take some time to explore this place to see what's here for you. If it's not visual, then just stay with the energy and be in this field of love and unity consciousness in the heart. And if it's visual, you can also explore and travel around, see what is there. Either way, we'll stay in the meditation now for 10 minutes, and I'll come back in at that point with further instructions. So take just another moment now to complete your meditation. And so now we're getting ready to come out of the meditation. We're not going to travel back to the mind. The idea is to stay in the heart as long as we can, but just gently start to layer in the awareness of the external reality while staying anchored in the heart. Sometimes I like to place a hand on my heart to create that anchor point, and then start to listen to the sounds around you in the room, all the while breathing into the heart, anchoring here, feeling the air on your skin, slowly lifting off your mask, keeping your eyes closed, just letting the light shine in as well. Still staying anchored in the heart. And then when you're ready, you can actually open your eyes, look around the room, all while anchored in your heart so that you're living it in the external world. It's not just an internal meditation. Take a few breaths into the heart while fully also engaged in life. Welcome back, everyone. So this is how we can come to be living in the heart. And the meditation becomes the practice to set ourselves up. We do that in the beginning of the day. And then anytime we catch ourselves not in the heart, we just return. We return. So we're starting to anchor our experience here in the heart so that we end up living more in our heart than we are in our mind, so we can flip the scales. Okay, so we've got about 10 minutes left, and I do want to talk about the workshop and just kind of do a little overview as well, in case you might be interested in what is this, where else does this go? Like, what's the 4-day training? And so I just wanted to do a little overview. Like, I could just go through day 1 through 4 and just kind of say a little bit about what happens in the workshop. So really, you know, the sacred space of the heart, I was saying, like the workshop in a way begins where this ends. And this is sort of the prerequisite, but there's also just, it's really interwoven, and we really don't get to going into the sacred space of the heart like we kind of just did, even though it was a very abbreviated version today. We don't actually really even do that until day 3 of the workshop. Day 1 is what Drunvalo calls the day of the opening. And that is when we are just doing sort of preparatory exercises to open the heart, to get into a space with each other, to stretch our ability to imagine and sense unusual things. And we talk a lot about the sacred space, and we do a review of this book. So that's kind of the day of the opening. Day 2 is the day of healing. And in that, we spend the morning talking about belief patterns and how, if we live in an unlimited universe, what's limiting us? It's our belief patterns, how they define our limits on reality. And we talk about healing and how much of healing is related to belief patterns. We watch some videos about that. We talk about the chakras and what they really are, their small spinning Merkabas, and how to work with them. And then we participate in a healing ceremony to help heal traumas that may be around the heart. Because if somebody has traumas or blockages or things that are in the way, then it's harder to go into the heart. So we do a healing ceremony to help clear and release any of the traumas that may be around the heart so that we can get in. So then on day 3, we then start going into the sacred space, doing all the practice of moving in the body and mapping it all out, going into the sacred space and then going into the tiny space and the difference between those two, talking all about it. We spent a lot of time workshopping that. And then we also activate the beams of light that are antennas that actually come out of your pineal chakra. And they are this kind of psychic phenomenon that need to be plugged in and activated that make people more psychic. Not so that we become psychic. It's not advertised as a come get psychic workshop, but because we need that technology online for what we're going to do on day 4. And on day 4, we start to put everything together and we learn about Tantra of the heart, how to connect the heart back to the mind to create a unified field between the two and fully, truly open the third eye. And when you're in your tiny space of your heart, you've activated your beams of light, you've connected the heart and the mind, and you've opened your third eye. That's when your heart-based, natural, living Merkaba comes online. It's totally different than it was done in the Flower of Life books, where you had to create a synthetic field because at the time we weren't ready to activate our heart-based Merkaba. So that was the solution Drunvalo was given. Let's give them a meditation they can do each day to create a synthetic Merkaba. And that's the difference in this workshop, is that we now are doing it organically from the heart when everything is lined up in just the right way. So we work to activate the Merkaba. We talk about programming it, programming your Merkaba to protect you and do some other things, how to create external Merkabas to protect spaces. And then we also talk about the creating from the heart. So instead of consciously creating from the mind, how do we consciously create from the heart and get the images that we want to create into the external world without going through the duality pathway? So that's, oh, and then we also work a lot with breathing prana, life force energy from the 4th dimension to kind of help charge up our field so that we can activate our light body, our Merkaba. And we work to connect with the higher self every day, numerous times, really building a relationship to your higher self, because the higher self doesn't have the blinders on that we have down here, and they know exactly who we are and what we're doing here. So many of those things are so much about like sovereignty, that we have it all like right within us. We just need to click those buttons and get things turned on. So that's a little summary of the 4-day workshop. And I do the workshop in 3 different formats. I teach it in person, which I do out of my home here in the Sedona area. And it's just classroom style. I don't provide accommodations, and it's not like a retreat where people just stay somewhere nearby and attend like 9 to 5, for 4 days. And then the other way I offer it is online workshops, which I have every couple months or so with live groups like this online. And that's usually done over a weekend. It's always done over the weekend. And I have numerous ones of those coming up as well. And then the third option is a self-study version, and it's go at your own pace. And it's a pre-recorded workshop that I did with a live group of 8 people. And they all gave me permission to use this in this way. And so it's like you get to go through it with a group and get all kinds of questions answered as you go and feel like you're part of the group. But you can do it in your own time if you're a mom or you've got work commitments that you can't take off time to do it live. I give people 2 weeks to go through it. And then at the end of each recording of each day, they then message me and ask me whatever questions they have. So you get real-time guidance from me, but doing it in your own pace. So those are the 3 ways you can do the workshop, and all that information is on my website. And well, take this beautiful space going into the heart and take it into your day and see how long you can hold it, and play with it and return, and now you have this piece too to like be alive for you, like during the eclipse this weekend, that Drunvalo thinks is so important. Just do this again and go into your heart and see what unfolds. So